I the asshole for not accepting my brother as my boss? Growing up, my older brother, Mike, 38M, pursued academics, earning a business degree and venturing into the corporate world, gaining experience in management and operations. I, Jake, 32M, was the backbone of our family's plumbing business. From a young age, I immersed myself in every aspect of the trade, starting as an apprentice, then moving up to journeyman, and eventually overseeing daily operations. My dedication was unwavering, often working late nights and sacrificing personal time to ensure the company's success. Recently, our parents announced their retirement and revealed their decision to pass the plumbing business's ownership to Mike. They believed his formal education equipped him with the skills to modernize and expand the company. This decision blindsided me, as I had dedicated my life to the business, anticipating I would naturally inherit it. I sat in stunned silence, waiting for them to say it was a joke. But their serious expressions told me otherwise. My disappointment was palpable. I felt betrayed and undervalued, questioning why years of dedication weighed less than a degree. Our parents stood firm, emphasizing the need for innovative strategies to keep the business competitive. They suggested I continue in my operational role under Mike's leadership, expecting us to collaborate harmoniously. Tension escalated as we attempted to work together. I resisted Mike's suggestions for change, viewing them as threats to the company's identity. Mike perceived my resistance as stubbornness, leading to frequent arguments. Our once close sibling bond deteriorated, affecting not only our relationship but also the staff's morale and the business's atmosphere. One afternoon, Mike called me into the office. His tone was clipped, businesslike. "Jake, this isn't working. We need to talk about your role moving forward." I crossed my arms. "What exactly are you saying?" Mike sighed. "I think it's time you accept that I'm in charge. And if you can't, maybe you shouldn't be here at all." The situation reached a climax during a staff meeting when I openly challenged Mike's authority, accusing him of being out of touch with the company's essence and the community it served. I argued that our parents' favoritism overlooked the value of experience and loyalty. Feeling undermined, Mike responded by asserting his position, highlighting the importance of adapting to modern business practices. The confrontation led to my resignation, leaving the business and our family in turmoil. Long-standing clients noticed my absence, and rumors about internal conflicts began to circulate, impacting our reputation. Our parents were devastated, realizing their decision, rooted in favoritism, had fractured their children's relationship and jeopardized the company's future. As I packed up my things, my mother stood in the doorway, eyes glassy with unshed tears. "Please, Jake, don't do this. This is your home." I zipped my tool bag and slung it over my shoulder. "Not anymore." Walking away from the family business was the hardest decision I'd ever made, but I knew I couldn't stay under Mike's leadership. At first, I felt lost. Years of dedication had amounted to nothing, and my relationship with my family was in shambles. But the more I thought about it, the clearer my path became. I had the skills. I had the experience. And most importantly, I had the connections. Longtime clients, the ones who trusted my work, reached out, wondering where I'd gone. That's when it hit me: why should I work for someone else when I could build something of my own? With a few loyal customers, I started small, taking on independent plumbing jobs from my garage. Word spread fast. People didn't just want a plumbing service, they wanted someone they could trust. Within a year, I had a full client list, hired a small crew, and officially launched my own company, one built on the values I believed in. Meanwhile, my absence at my family's business was taking its toll. Customers weren't happy with the changes Mike implemented, and employee morale continued to sink. Our parents saw what was happening, and for the first time, they questioned their decision. Despite everything, I didn't hold on to resentment. I had built something of my own, something I was proud of. Whether or not my family ever saw the value in my path, I knew one thing for sure: I had finally taken control of my own future. Do you think Jake is the asshole here? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Am I the asshole for selling our family home? When my grandmother passed away, she left behind more than memories. She left her house, the heart of our family for generations. To my surprise, she willed it to me, bypassing my parents and siblings entirely. I understood why. I was the one who had spent the most time with her, caring for her in her final years. While my siblings moved out and my parents focused on their own lives, I stayed. I ran errands, cooked meals, and kept her company. When she was too weak to walk on her own, I was the one who helped her. When the loneliness of old age crept in, I was the one who sat with her for hours. Still, I never expected to be the sole inheritor of the house that meant so much to our family. At first, my parents and siblings congratulated me, saying it was what Grandma wanted. They assured me they had no resentment. But everything changed when I made my decision. I was going to sell the house. The house was old, expensive to maintain, and too big for me to live in alone. It held sentimental value, but I knew keeping it wasn't practical. The money from selling it could change my life, help me buy my own place, pay off debts, and finally move forward instead of being tied to the past. But my family was furious. My parents accused me of being selfish, saying the house should stay in the family, even though neither of them had offered to take care of it. My siblings, who had barely visited in years, suddenly acted like I was tearing down our history. They insisted I should keep it, even if it meant financial strain, because some things are more important than money. I offered a solution: if they wanted to keep it so badly, they could buy it from me at a fair price. None of them took the offer seriously. They expected me to shoulder the burden alone, for tradition's sake. As the sale moved forward, the tension in my family grew unbearable. My mother broke down in tears, calling me heartless. My father, usually a quiet man, said I was making a mistake I'd regret for the rest of my life. My brother, who had never shown interest in the house before, accused me of betraying Grandma's memory. My sister, who had spent years living across the country, demanded I reconsider, even though she had no intention of moving back. I reminded them that Grandma had made her choice. She left the house to me, knowing I would do what was best for my future. She could have left it to my parents or split it between all of us, but she didn't. That fact didn't seem to matter to them. The guilt tripping was relentless. The angry texts, the passive-aggressive comments, the quiet disappointment in my parents' eyes, it all weighed on me. But I knew I couldn't let guilt dictate my future. So, I signed the papers and sold the house. It hurt, but deep down, I knew it was the right choice. The fallout changed my relationship with my family. They still talk to me, but things aren't the same. Gatherings feel colder, conversations more distant. My parents don't bring up the house anymore, but I can tell they haven't fully forgiven me. My brother and sister still make the occasional passive-aggressive comment about how things should have gone differently. I wonder if I could have handled things better. Maybe I should have taken more time, found a compromise, or held onto the house a little longer. Maybe then, my family wouldn't feel like I had erased an important part of our history. But when I step into my new home, bought with the money from the sale, I feel something I hadn't in years: stability. A fresh start. I know I did what was right for me. Still, the question lingers: was I the asshole for selling our family home? Am I the asshole for refusing to fund my brother's wedding? Growing up, my younger brother, Daniel, 28M, and I, 32M, were complete opposites. I was the responsible one, working hard, saving money, and planning for the future. Daniel, on the other hand, never thought beyond the present. He spent money as soon as he earned it, switched jobs constantly, and relied on our parents whenever he needed help. They always bailed him out, while I was expected to stand on my own 2 feet. When Daniel and his fiancée, Laura, got engaged, I was genuinely happy for them. But that changed when they sat me down to talk. "We want this wedding to be special," Daniel started, flashing a charming smile. Laura nodded enthusiastically. "And since you're doing well financially, we thought you could help out. Maybe cover a big part of it?" I frowned. "Wait, you mean pay for the wedding?" Daniel waved a hand. "Not all of it, obviously. But a good chunk, maybe the venue, catering, or the honeymoon." I blinked. "That's a lot of money." "You can afford it," Daniel said casually. "And it would mean so much to us. It's family, you know?" I hesitated, trying to choose my words carefully. "I've worked hard to save up, but that's for my own future, buying a house, retirement, emergencies. I can't afford to take on an expense this big." The mood shifted instantly. Daniel's smile disappeared. Laura's excitement faded. Daniel crossed his arms. "So you just don't want to help?" I thought that was the end of it, but I underestimated how much my family would escalate the situation. A few days later, my mom called me, her tone filled with disappointment. "Daniel told me you refused to help with the wedding," she said. "Yeah, Mom, because it's not my responsibility." "But you're doing well for yourself," she argued. "You have a stable job, savings, a comfortable life. What's a little money to you when it means giving your brother a perfect wedding?" I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "If it's so important, why don't you and Dad help?" "We've already given Daniel a lot over the years," she admitted. "We just thought you'd step up this time." I almost laughed. That's the problem, Mom. You've always helped Daniel, and now he expects everyone else to do the same. She sighed dramatically. I just don't understand how you can be so cold. It's his wedding, not some random favor. Over the next few weeks, the guilt-tripping continued. My dad tried a more logical approach, saying, "You'll make that money back in no time, but this wedding is once in a lifetime." Laura, who had always been sweet before, became passive-aggressive. "Not everyone has the luxury of saying no to family," she muttered at one point. And Daniel? He flat out stopped talking to me. The wedding went on without my financial help. It wasn't the grand event they had initially wanted, but they adjusted their plans and made it work. I attended, hoping to keep the peace, but the tension was thick. Daniel barely acknowledged me. My parents gave me polite but distant smiles, as if I were a guest, not their son. Laura made sure I overheard a conversation about how some people don't understand the meaning of generosity. At one point, my mom sighed and whispered, "I hope you're happy with your decision." Even after the wedding, things weren't the same. Family gatherings became uncomfortable. My parents acted like I had let them down. Daniel kept his distance, and when we did talk, it was surface level, nothing like the bond we used to have. The occasional snide comment would slip out, "It must be nice to have all that money saved up," or "Some of us don't have the luxury of turning our backs on family." For a while, I questioned myself. Maybe I should have contributed something, just a small amount to keep the peace. Maybe I should have explained myself better. But then I realized something: if I had given them money, it wouldn't have been out of kindness, it would have been out of guilt. And that wasn't fair to me. I had spent my whole life being responsible, while Daniel had spent his avoiding responsibility. And now, when it finally caught up to him, I was expected to clean up the mess. I didn't regret saying no. But I did wonder if standing up for myself made me the villain in my family's eyes. Did that really make me the asshole? If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a bite-sized story. More Reddit tales coming your way soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.